This doesn't end until Yevgeny Primakov is dead or in prison. Wagner's not going to win. There was a gamble made.
New footage that we've just received in the early hours of this morning. Yevgeny Prigozhin, Wagner's leader, moved troops into the Russian city of Rostov-on-Don. These are new pictures of his troops moving into the city, we understand. He claims to have taken control of key military facilities in Rostov-on-Don, that city in the south of Russia, not far from the Ukrainian border, and where the Russian military operation is being run from. These pictures are just coming into us at Sky News. Also hearing from the Reuters news agency that Russian soldiers have been setting up a machine gun position on the southwest edge of Moscow. This is according to photographs published by the Vedomosti newspaper. Photographs on local media also showing armed police gathering at the point where the M4 highway is heading towards Moscow, and where the Wagner mercenaries are moving along in a convoy.
Сегодня еще раз ночью говорил с командующими всех направлений. Обращаюсь и к тем, кого обманом или угрозами втянули в преступную авантюру, толкнули на путь тяжкого преступления, вооруженного мятежа. Россия сегодня ведет тяжелейшую борьбу за свое будущее, отражает агрессию неонацистов и их хозяев. Против нас направлена фактически вся военная, экономическая, информационная машина Запада. Любые распри, которыми могут воспользоваться и пользуются наши внешние враги, чтобы подорвать нас изнутри. И потому действия, которые раскалывают наше единство, это, по сути, отступничество от своего народа. От боевых товарищей, которые сражаются сейчас на фронте. Это удар в спину нашей стране и нашему народу. Все, кто сознательно встал на путь предательства, кто готовил вооруженный мятеж, встал на путь шантажа и террористических методов, понесут неименуемое наказание.
Inescapable punishment. Have you seen him so serious?
Well, I mean, I've seen Vladimir Putin serious before, but he's never been confronted with an armed rebellion. This is a very serious thing, and if it spirals out of control, could threaten the survival of Russia, which, of course, is what it's intended to do. So when he says, when he talks about serious punishment, understand this. This doesn't end until Wagner is destroyed. This doesn't end until Yevgeny Primakov is dead or in prison. Wagner's not going to win. There was a gamble made. They needed several things to happen, such as, for instance, they needed the Russian nation and the people to rally around them. Wagner was going off of the reputation they had built through the battles of Soledar and Bakhmut, achieving victory at a time when many Russians were starting to question whether or not victory could be attained in the special military operation. Wagner gave them that victory, a dramatic victory, a decisive victory. And so Wagner was lauded as heroes, superheroes, the epitome of the Russian fighting man, the Russian fighting spirit. Wagner, all over Russia, there are recruiting posters put up in every city for Wagner to sign people up, as Wagner was regrouping ostensibly. This morning, all those recruiting posters are being torn down. The Wagner Center in St. Petersburg, the head of their information propaganda aspect, has been occupied by Russian security forces, and Putin has signed a warrant for Prigozhin's arrest and has mobilized the army and given them orders to use all means necessary to stop this. So this will end sooner rather than later. Let's just understand what Wagner is and isn't. They're a small group of highly professional, not so small. I mean,
how many fighters, Scott? Sorry for interrupting. How many human beings are we talking about on Wagner's side?
Well, according to Prigozhin, he has 25,000, but I'll tell you what, I think that's exaggerated. That's 25,000 total, but some are here, there, and everywhere. The number of troops that he's probably moved into Russia numbers in the 4,000 to 5,000 number. And here's the other interesting thing. In the lead up to this, you had the Ukrainians. If you remember, the Ukrainians used some Russian nationalist units backed by Ukrainian intelligence, to attack into the Belgorod area, to cross the border, attack villages, and create the perception of a weak Russia. Who is the number one person coming in and saying, this proves Putin's weak, this proves Shoigu's ineffective, this proves Gerasimov is incompetent? Prigozhin. And what did he say he was going to do? I will move Wagner on my own volition, he said, to Belgorod to save Russia. Many of the Wagner fighters who have gone into Belgorod were told that they're going there not to attack Putin, not to attack Shoigu, but to protect Russia from the Ukrainians. And they've arrived here and they're going, what the hell is going on here? Why are we doing this? And the Ministry of Defense is telling them, lay down your weapons. I'm telling you right now, by the time this day is done, the majority of the Wagner fighters will probably have laid down their weapons voluntarily because they're Russian patriots, they're Russian heroes. They don't want to be involved in an armed insurrection against a Russian president named Vladimir.
Doesn't this tool of MI6 and the CIA, Yevgeny Prigozhin, know that he is vastly outnumbered and that many of his own people will desert him for the reasons you just articulated?
Well, I think he was told, led to believe by the Ukrainian intelligence services and the British intelligence that Putin's government is a house of cards. And they told him, I believe they told him, that the oligarchs would rally around him, that as soon as he crossed the border and made a move towards Moscow, that the governors and the mayors would all come out and say, we're behind Yevgeny, we're behind Wagner, we demand Shoigu's removal, that the oligarchs would say, we're throwing our weight behind them. And then there would have been this insurrection in Moscow by Ukrainian intelligence blowing things up, where the people of Moscow would have said, holy cow, Putin is weak, Wagner, come in and save us. He was led to believe that all of this would take place. None of it's taking place. Instead, the Russian soldiers, trying to avoid civil war, have said, okay, you're coming in, we're here, but what are you doing? We're not too happy about this. The Russian generals are saying, guys, this is pretty stupid. Put down your weapons. They kept moving towards Moscow, and now they're getting hammered. And the reality is going to sink home real soon. It hasn't already, to these Wagner fighters, that they're on the wrong side of history here, that they're going to be forever known, not as the heroes of Bakhmut, but the traitors who sold out their country to a Ukrainian Nazi enemy backed by the collective West, which is seeking the destruction of the nation they're supposed to be defending.
Scott Ritter, can't thank you enough, my dear friend.